And welcome to GameFace SFNL Division 1 Netball Show. And today we have Will joining us again because Hugh is unavailable. So, Will, how are you feeling?
Better than Hugh. I hear Hughie's not well, so we send him our regards. Hope you're feeling better soon, buddy. But yeah, great to be back on the show. Obviously, I didn't do too bad a job if you've invited me back, but yeah, lovely to be here, Mac.
Yeah, and obviously there was some talk at the netball courts about your success and knowledge on the first show that you did, so pressure's on.
Oh boy, pressure's right up.
And what are our top stories?
Well, of course, Dingley flexes its muscle, had a great win on the weekend. St Paul's, they showed some pretty positive signs in their game over the weekend, and a big day down at Heatherton on Sunday. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on, Mac.
Yeah, very exciting. And as always, thank you to our sponsors, Bendigo Bank, Caulfield Park, Swiv's Locker, and 1111 Fitness. So we're going to start with it, jump right into it for our round 8 recap. So our first game was Dingley 63, defeated Caulfield 19. So another really big win there for Dingley, and their first time getting over 60 goals. So very exciting for them, and maybe something of a season high.
Absolutely, they look mightily impressive, the Dingoes, and I understand Monique Lenahan-Mustafa was pretty pivotal in the goal circle, so she's in some great form at the moment. She's hard to stop. So I think your Caulfield girls might be a little bit undermanned at the moment. Yeah,
we are, unfortunately. We had Cherie Reynolds come in, and her experience on the court was really beneficial, but Dingley just too polished there, and Monique was phenomenal, even getting defensive intercepts as well, so really exciting there for her. And also Shay from Dingley had a run in goals and managed to score some as well, so that was really exciting for Dingley, and it was nice to see them enjoying themselves on court.
Absolutely, they are absolutely flying, the Dingoes. And a question for you, Mac, maybe without notice, do you think they're unbeatable? I mean, at the moment, at the form that they're in, can any side knock off Dingley?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up. I know that a lot of clubs were talking about that after the game on Saturday, and I know Heatherton was in the mix there as well as Oakley. So interesting to see. And I think at their current form with the sides we have against them, no, I don't think they are. But I don't think it's impossible. I think come finals, maybe, who knows, there might be a surprise win in there, but they're just really untouchable at the moment.
It's a completely different ball game once finals start, Mac, as you know, so we'll see what happens when that rolls around. We did ask that question to the fans out there, and we might touch on that a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah. And our next game was Mordialloc 26, defeated by Heatherton 41. So Hugh and I were both off in our tips here, and both tipped Mordialloc, but Heatherton were really strong. They were on demand. They had a lot of players out for VNL in Sienna, and also Beth with an injury. But it was just amazing to see some Division 2 girls step up in Liv Morris in the goal circle, and also Emma moving into the circle just to create some depth for Heatherton.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand Mordialloc, they were a little bit patchy various stages around the court. So I think they're sitting in 5th at the moment. We'll go to the ladder a little bit later, but they're not too far out from the top 4. And but there's a few things I think coming out of that game that they really need to work on if they're to challenge some of the top sides and cement their spot in the top 4.
Yeah, and I think for Mordialloc it's just the ability to put a full game together and also have consistency with players. I know that Katie wasn't there, and Amy was their key defender, which is always challenging having a break there. And our final game was St Paul's 35, defeated by Cheltenham 50. And this was a really shocking, I guess, a shock game. St Paul's were with them right up until quarter time. There was only 2 goals of difference.
Yeah, there was. And, I kind of expected Cheltenham to maybe win this one by a little bit more, but I was really, really pleased to see St Paul's really take up the fight to Cheltenham. I mean, obviously Cheltenham, they're doing pretty well, and they're looking like likely finalists, and obviously St Paul's still looking for their first win. But great to see the St Paul's girls really lift and, challenge a higher ranked opponent.
Yeah, and St Paul's, I just loved how they kept going and kept giving it their all, and it was just amazing to see that Cheltenham couldn't get the ball into the circle easily, and St Paul's really worked them hard. So, yeah, I guess our surprise of the round was just how well St Paul's really did play.
I believe Lauren Hucker, she was out of the side for Cheltenham as well. VNL commitments, which impacted their defence. But take nothing away from St Paul's; they were really, really impressive there. And obviously, Oakleigh District had the bye over the weekend as well.
Yeah, and I think that might have been fitting with them for all the VNL commitments that were happening. But looking at the ladder now, we have Dingley clearly out in the lead with 32 points, Heatherton on 24. Oakleigh District and Cheltenham both on 16. So interesting there to see so close in third and fourth.
Yeah, it looks like an exciting race, and Mordialloc not far behind on 12. I think the key thing here, and it's the same across both footy and netball, a real sort of indication of how well a side's tracking is its percentage. And if you have a look at Dingley, 185, that's miles ahead of Heatherton, 55 ahead of Heatherton. I had to stall there because my maths isn't that great, Michaela. So, no, they are absolutely flying, 2 games clear and plenty of percentage. And if you have a look at their 4 column, they've netted 423 goals, which is clearly ahead of any other side in the competition. So they've got strength all over the court. And, as we said, they're looking very, very good things.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting with Dingley, obviously a different lineup this year, and they've just been so strong and really connected really well on the court, and they're a lovely team to play against. I think their sportsmanship really showed on the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, and as we said, Mordialloc and Caulfield occupying the 5th and 6th. Do you think either of those sides have the capability to push into the 4th spot? Can we rule any of those two out?
I think Mordialloc's still in contention. I think Bears have just maybe left their run a little bit too late. I think the lineup that they have coming into finals is just a little bit too strong. But I think this year there's a bit of a divide between the top 4 and the bottom 3. So interesting to see that. But again, I could eat my words and they could be amazing. So fingers crossed that does happen. But I think Mordialloc's the last one to have contention there.
Interesting run home for the back end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
See what happens.
It will be interesting to see how it all plays out. And of course, we're throwing to Hugh's favourite segment, which is Under the Bus. Will, have you got any content for us?
I do, actually. Firstly, I'd like to throw our man Hugh McLean under the bus. He claims he's not feeling well, so I pulled a sickie today, and I think it's because he was up all night watching the Poms get beaten in the cricket last night by the mighty Aussie. So, I'm only joking.
No, maybe he just took the loss of Mordialloc really hard.
Either. No, I spoke to him a little bit earlier in the day, and yeah, he's really not feeling too well. Is the great man. So, as I said, best wishes to you, mate. Hope you're feeling well soon. Heatherton, they had a massive day down there on Sunday, standalone footy clash with Chelsea Heights. But good to see a lot of the girls get around the Kicking It for Brain Cancer fundraiser.
Yeah, and it was amazing to see that Heatherton had a stand at the courts on Saturday, and talking to them at the end of the day, they sold all their cookies that they had and had a lot of donations there. So an amazing cause, and just great to see the netball community supporting one another.
Yep.
And it was also great to see some of the junior sides. I know that Dingley had a post about their fundraiser coming up for Heatherton. So nice to see that each club's sort of getting around one another.
They can be fierce rivals off the court, but when there's a great on the court, I should say, but if there's a great cause off it, it's great to see all the clubs really support each other. And obviously a cause close to Heatherton's heart with Mandy Quinn's husband passing away in March due to brain cancer, aging only his early 40s, which is far too young for that sort of thing. But great to see the club and indeed the SFNL community rally around him, and a fair bit of fundraising efforts went into it. I think the reserves ruckman from Heatherton, he's been growing a beard. It's down to about here. He's been growing it since November 2017, would you believe? And it looked pretty ordinary, if I'm honest. But he shaved it off. Or more specifically, the senior coach, Shane Sheedy, shaved it off, and they raised a fair bit of money for the Cure for Brain Cancer Foundation, which was fantastic. We should maybe have some photos of him getting those lopped off that hopefully we can show you. But, some great initiatives. Mandy Quinn was down there, and she presented a medallion for the best on ground in the senior game, and Mandy and Nicholas's son led the senior boys out, and they wore special jumpers for the day, and it was just absolutely tremendous to see them really rally around it. And obviously Mandy's very well known in the SFNL netball community, and great to see them, as we said, rally around her.
Yeah, and just great to see that everyone's supporting each other there. And obviously, Mandy, we wish you all the best. Not an easy time to be going through. but in a bit of a different story, I guess our next under the bus is Beth Wilson for getting her second concussion for VNL and missing another game for SFNL.
Yeah, concussions, you got to take them pretty seriously.
Yeah.
I know they're not fun things to have, so make sure you get yourself right, Beth, and hopefully we can see you back on the court shortly. Yeah,
and remember, if you have anything interesting or any content for us for Under the Bus, please contact us by the GameFace SFNL Netball Facebook group.
that's where you can plug all your events and all that sort of stuff. So we have an event coming up too, the Caulfield Bears Trivia Night that
We
I think
do.
you and I will be testing our wits, which will be fantastic.
Might have a GameFace table there, Will, so will be interesting.
Good luck, everybody else.
And moving into a different segment tonight, we have the Swivs Locker plug, I guess. They're a really important sponsor to us, and they do a lot of work and sponsor us phenomenally. So it's really important that we're supporting those who support us. And if your club's interested at looking at designs in your club colours or anything like that, Swivs Locker is your best port of call.
Absolutely, they are the best in the business, no doubt. I noticed you've got a brand spanking new shirt on, Mac, and
Perfect timing.
You look $1 million in it too, I must say. So they are the best, as Mac said. So if you want to get your club kitted out, make sure you get in touch with Swivs Locker. I'm wearing it, you're wearing it. They're comfy as hell. So make sure you get on them and hit them up on Facebook and get around it.
Yeah, and they have some really interesting. I guess attires and outfits you can pick from, is that right?
They certainly do. They got a really nice ugly sweater that they brought out. We wore it on one of the footy shows early in the year. Some like them, some don't. I personally love them, and given how cold it is at the moment, it's certainly something you should get around.
Yeah, exactly. So please remember to support those who support us. And our topic of the week last week, we looked at who was the favourite for the premiership. And the results are in, and what can you tell us, Will?
Well, probably no surprise there. The Dingoes are making every post a winner. They're yet to lose a game in Division 1, and unsurprisingly, they're way out in front. 25 people said that they'd get the chocolates, and that's more than, it's about double.
We're testing your maths today, aren't we?
Which I told you straight off the top is not great, which is double the next best in Heatherton, and Cheltenham just behind them, and a couple of votes coming in also for Caulfield, Mordialloc and Oakley District as well. So the people have spoken, and it looks like it's Heatherton's cup to lose, I think.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how that plays out. And obviously 25 votes for Dingley is pretty strong.
And 13 for Heatherton, but to be honest, I think when it comes down to it, the back half of the season, the final series will probably be a little bit closer than the margin we saw there. So, definitely an interesting finals race, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And this week, we're wondering what your thoughts are on having a standalone Division 1 Grand Final. Now, I know Saturday there was some talk about finals at the courts and how there's been some changes in SFNL for the finals series. But our question is, do you want Div 1 to play the same day as everyone else for Grand Final, but have their standalone time slot? So no other games going on then.
You'd certainly get a big crowd if that was the case. I mean, everyone's pretty interested in all the grand finals on the day, but Division 1, I think, sort of the pinnacle that you sort of want to get to. And it'd be great, I think, to see them stand alone and have everyone else come down and support. And really want to see a big, big crowd supporting the girls on the court in the biggest game of the year. On the flip side, though, I can understand some of the difficulties the league will have logistically. 10 divisions, it's not easy to manage with a finite number of courts to play with. So, and obviously, me sort of being involved with the league last year, I know the efforts that they go to put that day up and going. So, not an easy task, but. Yeah, I personally wouldn't mind seeing a standalone Division 1 Grand Final. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it would be nice, and it'd be nice to sort of give Division 1 that highlight and, that support from the league. But I do understand that it is challenging, and we were sort of talking about it Saturday with some of the clubs that it's hard because your club could be playing at the same time as one another.
Yep.
So really hard, I guess, logistically there for the league. But I guess our question is, should we have a Division 1 standalone grand final time?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to get your thoughts, and hopefully we can take those thoughts back to the league HQ, and we can say to Sue Kimber, hey, this is what the people reckon. What do you think? Maybe we could implement that moving forward. If not for this year, maybe next year, working down the track. But Sue's doing a great job down there, by the way. So keep up the great work, Sue.
Yeah, and so remember to get onto the Facebook page there and let us know your thoughts. And round 9, so well over the halfway mark now.
Round 10 even, I think that's a typo. Should throw myself under the bus for that.
Okay. Goodness, Will. You and your typos this week. Even in the poll, you had the typo of other divisions.
I was hoping you weren't going to go there, Mac, but that's all right.
So that's all right. So our first game is Mordialloc v Cheltenham. So really interesting there to have those two teams play out. And will be interesting to see what lineup Mordialloc has, because I know that's been affecting them. But I guess my tip is going to be Mordialloc.
This is a very critical game for both sides. Obviously, Mordialloc and Cheltenham are the two sides chasing that 4th spot on the ladder. So very important there. Mordialloc, I know they probably won't be impressed with their performance last week and will really want to make a statement here. Cheltenham have been playing some pretty good netball, and they've really surprised a few sides in Division 1. But yeah, look, I'm with you actually. If Mordialloc can get their best side on the park, they'll win that one in a close one. But yeah, make no mistake, this will be the match of the round for sure.
Yeah. And our next game, Oakleigh District v St Paul's. Again, really promising signs from St Paul's, and I know Oakleigh's coming off the back of a bye, so it will be interesting to see what happens there. And I don't think we can count out St Paul's from their performance on Saturday. They pulled together some really quality netballs, so I think that will still be close. I know Oakleigh's been struggling with lineups again, but I'm going to be backing Oakleigh District on this one.
Yeah, I will too. I think the bye obviously have them nice and refreshed and ready and raring to go. But don't discredit St Paul's. I mean, we saw last week a vastly improved effort, and we keep saying every week a breakthrough win's not too far away. They'll make a real fist of it, I reckon. But yeah, District's for me.
Yeah, and our last game is Caulfield v Heatherton. I think Caulfield, again, just struggling with the lineup. I know there's some people away. And I think Heatherton, hopefully they have some of their VNL players back from their commitments last week. I think, again, we can't really count out Caulfield just yet. I think they could really challenge Heatherton in some elements of their game. But I think Heatherton's just going to be a little bit too strong here, so I'm going to back Heatherton.
Having VNL players come back to strengthen an already strong side is an imposing task for any side, let alone one that, has probably been struggling for consistency throughout the year. I'd really like to see the Teddies make a big fist of this one, but Heatherton will certainly be too strong, I think. And they'd also be looking to make a bit of a statement and try and bridge the gap on Dingley a little bit, and just make sure that they're sort of looking in the rearview mirror and just say, hey, we're here too. We're chasing your top spot.
It will be really, really interesting there. And in terms of tips, there's only one, the difference between myself and Hugh. So it will be interesting to see how that folds out. But hopefully some really close games for Saturday.
I'm sure it will be, and I did see you looking at my notes just before we went to air, and you copied my tips because I apparently did such a great job last time. You just copied my tips, and I'm trying to do my best for you here this week. But yeah, and obviously Dingley with the bye this week as well.
Yeah, so Dingley with the bye, so being able to rest there and hopefully come back just as strong. And that's it for this week. Make sure you jump into the comments and let us know what you want to see in the show moving forward. Really important to us to get that feedback.
100%.
And as always, remember to support those who support us. So Bendigo Bank, Caulfield Park, 1111 Fitness and Swiv's Locker. Remember to contact them for any of your club wear that you want. Yep, they're looking pretty good, I think. The shirts that we're wearing, especially yours, looks really good. So, make sure you get on them, for sure. And remember, get your GameFace on.